Oh yeah, this one's gonna be nice. Today we're reviewing a brand new guitar, which I'm excited about, and it's something that I've been eyeballing for a long time and finally pulled the trigger on. And it's a sweet, sweet looking guitar, probably one of the nicest looking guitars that I own right now. This is the brand new Eastman T486. T stands for Tony. No, it actually doesn't stand for Tony, but I'm happy that it actually starts with a T. It's an Omen. T486. This is part of the Eastman, what they call the thin line. And maybe some of you might be concerned by that, as I was, to be honest, because I'm not a big fan of thin guitars. But I measured this guitar and I measured my Gibson 335, and the actual difference front to back is only 2 millimeters. So it actually is a little bit thinner than a Gibson, but not by much. And honestly, if I didn't measure it, I would never have known. So this guitar is a beautiful, beautiful looking guitar. I was stunned by the look on this guitar. You know, looks are important to me. I know they shouldn't actually be important. You know, sound should actually be number one, but I couldn't help but be just blown away by this guitar. I'm gonna like just zoom in a little bit so you can see the flame on the top here. Look at that beautiful body. Look at the sunburst, the way it's painted, the ebony fretboard. Just as a package, this guitar to me is probably one of the nicest looking guitars that I own, that I've ever owned actually. And I'm gonna say as far as hollow body 335 style guitars go, probably even nicer looking than some of the PRSs that I've seen, honestly. But let's start off talking about the features on this guitar right here at the headstock. Start at the top. So the headstock on this guitar is very tastefully done. I did notice that they have some jazz guitars available in their lineup that have quite a substantial, I would say, wider top section here on the headstock, which honestly, guys, I find hideous. I don't like those at all. I'm so happy that they decided to keep these small and compact and very, very nice and tastefully done. So big thumbs up for that. Otherwise, I probably would not have purchased this guitar. They have the Eastman logo in there in what looks to be like a mother of pearl with a black finish on the front, as well as a very classic looking truss rod cover here. Now the tuners on this guitar are Kluson style tuners, as you can see here, and I find this adds to the look of the classic look of the guitar. So I like that. I like the fact that they use that instead of chromed knobs. Some people prefer the chrome. I have no issue with these. What you'll notice also is that there's a really nice binding that goes all around the headstock and is actually continued all the way down the neck here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the nut. The nut is bone, beautifully finished, nicely rounded, very shiny bone nut. I'm happy that they didn't use something else in this case, because I think it would be a mistake and take away from the classic look of this guitar. Let's talk about the neck here for a minute. This neck is made, at least the fretboard part of it, is made of ebony. So it's not some kind of wood that is dyed or stained to look like ebony that a lot of guitars that are being made overseas are using these days. This is actual ebony. Split parallelogram inlays are beautiful. I would say that these are classic looking inlays that I love so much, and honestly would love to have these on all of my guitars. Now the ebony fretboard is finished so nicely, it's actually been polished and it has a little bit of a shine to it, as you can see there. So very nice. The frets on this guitar are medium jumbo frets. They feel extremely well placed and seated, nicely leveled. There was no issues with any kind of buzzing or anything like that with high frets. They don't have the nibs on the edges of the frets like Gibson puts on their guitars. So they actually go over the binding, but you don't feel the ends of the frets. The way they're finished, there's no fret sprout at all. The ends of the frets have been nicely rounded over. Beautiful, beautiful job on these frets and this neck overall. The binding is beautiful. It's actually, I would say, what, a three ply? I don't know, but it's white, black, and white on the binding here, and I'll give you a shot of that, and it goes all around the neck. And you know, just like touches like that are really nice. The interesting part of it is that if you look at the binding on the side here, it's slightly different. So it's like it's been laminated. There's been, like, I would say there's one, I don't know, 3 or 4 pieces of vertical binding, and then you have a strip of black before you actually get to the wood on the back of the neck, which I find is such a nice detail. And that actually goes around the guitar, front and back on both sides. So you have the binding in the back and the front, and it's just mimicked all the way across the body of the guitar. And they even actually put a little binding cap here at the heel of the neck, and the heel of the neck has been rounded over. There's so many little details like this on this guitar that just make it really, really stand out in my opinion. So let's continue talking about the neck, because we didn't finish all the details here. The width at the nut is 1.72 inches, 22 frets, medium jumbo. They call these jester frets. I'm not really sure why jester frets, but that's what they refer to them as. The profile on the back of the neck is a medium C, very comfortable, not a bulky neck. String spacing at the nut is very comfortable and easy to play as well. They call the front of the body and the back deluxe flame maple laminate. So the body, front and back are made of laminated maple, and laminated maple basically does give the surface more strength because they cross glue the actual pieces of wood, so it actually has less tendency to warp, which I think is a good thing overall. The back of the neck is also made out of 3 pieces of laminated wood. Now, I don't know if you can even see that. I'll try and get it off the light here. 3 pieces of wood that are glued together that make up the neck, and that basically also gives the neck more strength. There's no volute, there's no scarf joint at the headstock here, and the headstock is the proper angle. It's a set-in neck, it's not bolted on, as you can see, and it just makes a quality instrument. So let's talk a little bit about the hardware that you normally get with this guitar right out of the box. So the pickups on these guitars are Duncan 59 and a Jazz. These pickups are used in countless guitars. Many people love that combination. Full disclosure, this guitar, when I did purchase it, was already upgraded to a different set of pickups. These are 57 Classics, which in my opinion, I enjoy more than the Duncan 59 and the Jazz. But either way, I think you'll be very happy with the stock pickups that come in this guitar. The electronics on this guitar normally ships with a set of CTS pots, a Switchcraft three-way switch, and 0.22 capacitors in the wiring. So the switches are very smooth, top hat knobs, volume, tone, very classic, and very good quality components in the guitar. The bridge and tail pieces are both made by Goto. You have a Tunematic bridge here, very good quality, as well as a nice solid looking tailpiece by Goto as well. So no OEM type parts or components in this guitar. High quality hardware that should last a long time and you shouldn't have any issues with. So for those of you that have very keen eyes, you'll notice one thing is missing from the front of the guitar, and that is the output jack, which is normally located just about here. Eastman has chosen to take that and put it here, which I think is actually a better location for it. Just works better in my opinion, doesn't force you to have a 90-degree jack to take the strain off of the actual output jack when it's located in the front of the guitar, and just will cause less issues if it's placed right here. So I think that is a good upgrade. Can we call it an upgrade or modification that they chose to do? The pickguard is a very classy, stylish pickguard. Also has binding that goes all around that, and even the little, what do you call this? A retaining bracket or position bracket? I don't know what it's actually called, but even that is a very high quality piece of hardware. It's not just a piece of bent metal like you get on so many other guitars. So this guitar really does punch way beyond its price point in terms of look and feel. If we can get back to the guitar finish for a minute here, the guitar I believe is finished in some kind of polyurethane. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it is. It's a very nicely polished, shiny surface that we have here. But what I like is that they took the attention to detail to another level by alternating the dark and light spots of the burst on the side of the guitar. So you have lighter, darker, lighter, goes back to dark at the bottom, and even the back of the neck mimics that look. So you have a spot here that looks like it's worn, but it's actually not. It's just the way they decided to finish the sunburst finish on the guitar. Beautiful, just great attention to detail. I have really nothing negative to say in terms of the look on this guitar and the way it's actually been put together. I tried really hard to find at least one finish flaw, and I'm still looking. Haven't been able to find anything to complain about, and that's rare with me. For those of you that actually follow my channel, you know there's always something, right? I'm probably forgetting something in terms of the details on this guitar. Oh, I know, we haven't actually weighed the guitar. So let's put it on the scale and see what kind of weight this guitar comes in at. So the weight on this guitar comes in at 8.42. Not extremely heavy at all, but you know, the fact that it is a semi-hollow body guitar, it does feel well put together and doesn't feel flimsy in any sense. Of course, it does have a solid block down the middle, so that is part of the extra weight that you have there. And I actually even looked inside the cavity just to see how the block was milled, because sometimes you see on some of the other guitars, we won't name brands, but you know, the holes to be able to access the wiring is kind of, they're not really cleanly done. This one is extremely clean, really nicely done. You can see that it's been milled really nice. So as I mentioned, the pickups on this guitar have been upgraded. The person that previously owned this guitar before I purchased it from them decided to put in 57 Classics, which I think are the right choice. I just love those pickups, and you'll hear that in the sound samples. They also took the opportunity to update the wiring harness completely for an Emerson wiring harness, which is an upgrade, I think, in my opinion, but I really don't think it's necessary because the components on the original harness were good quality, so they just chose to do that. For me, it's an extra that I got out of this deal because I was, probably gonna swap out the pickups anyways. The guitar also comes with a really nice quality Eastman case, which is nice to see. Sometimes, on certain guitars that you buy, you don't always necessarily get a case these days. Hollow body guitars like this have slightly different shapes. It's not a one-fit-all type deal, so you want to make sure you have a case that actually fits your guitar perfectly, and the Eastman cases are really nicely made and will protect your guitar for years to come. I have to come clean and say that this was actually not my first choice in a guitar. I actually was lusting over a Gibson ES 345, a vintage one, for the longest time, hoping to maybe get lucky and catch a deal on one of those. I've been playing the lottery diligently, week after week, but I still haven't won. So that vintage guitar is going to be kind of out of reach for me. So I selected this guitar as a second choice. And I'm really happy that I did because I think it's a great contender, so much more affordable, and just looks so great. I think I made the right choice in buying this guitar. It popped up at the right time and at the right price, and I really think that it actually has elevated my guitar collection, and it's gonna be really hard to surpass the quality that I see on this guitar. And who knows what the next one's gonna have to be, but it's gonna have to be something pretty special to go beyond what we have here today. So let me take a couple of seconds to give out a big kudos to the people that correctly identified this guitar in one of my live shows. I have a live show that happens on Sunday mornings, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we always have a great group of guitar addicts or aficionados, however you want to refer to them, that join in on the live chat. And I had the guitar case leaning against my Marshall here behind me, and they correctly identified the model of guitar within the case when I asked them to guess. And so Joe McCarty guessed that it was an Eastman T486, which honestly I think is close enough. I mean, it blows my mind that you can even, guess what it is without even seeing the guitar. Tonefish also guessed an Eastman. Antoon Hermans also guessed an Eastman, as well as Charles S. So you guys rock, man. You guys know your stuff. I'm very proud of you. So if you guys want to participate in this great live chat on Sundays, please do. We're here every Sunday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button or you'll be missing out on other great guitar reviews right here. See you soon.